Good afternoon. We will come to order. It's nice that we have a quorum, but sad as you may have noticed in your packet that Ward 3 name was vacant, and that the last thing on our packet is an acknowledgement of condolence to Gary Rader's family. He had died over the Christmas holidays. And we will address that when it comes to it in the meeting here. I'd like a motion to receive and approve the minutes of the December 4th meeting. If you've noted any errors or corrections, we will then ask that you tell us. Okay. Moved. Mike. Okay. And did we get a second? Clarence. Okay. Does anyone note any errors? Anybody have any problems with it? I would entertain a motion then of final approval of this so that we're through with that item. Or actually, all I need to do is ask you to vote. Those that approve, aye. Any opposed?
Just to note that I was not here on the 4th.
Oh, did it?
Just
Oh,
noting that.
right. Right, yeah. So that correction. Yes. Thank you. Ahmad, you're our guide.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. We have one item for your consideration today. We are requesting $66,000 in the 2007 general obligation bond, the unlisted street money, to go toward resurfacing Ollie Avenue between 63rd, Northwest 63rd and 67th. As the aerial photo shows, those are the three streets that need to be resurfaced. This is a commercial area between Classen and Western Ave. There's shopping center, restaurants, etc. Three property owners own this area, and they have come together and have reached to the city that they would like to for those streets to be resurfaced, and they are willing to put 50% of the construction cost. So they will be putting $66,000. The city will be putting $66,000 in order to resurface those streets there. And our plan is we have unit price contract, which we are able to issue work orders once the money is come in and allocated toward the city. We can put that in a work order, and the work can be done pretty expeditiously. Any questions?
Is there any particular reason why the identification of the owners is not on the request?
Is that an issue? The name of the property owners, they like it to be on the memo. Is that something we can add?
It's not necessarily that I wanted it. I just was curious if there was any particular legal reason why we are oblivious to who the other half of the money is coming from. To notify. mean, it's not a privacy issue, is it? Well, just, for record purposes, if this is a recommendation to the committee.
Well, there's going to be an agreement signed between us and them, so their names will be presented in the agreement. One of the owners that we know is Randy Hogan. He's one of the developers, but the other two, we don't know the name. But again, this is going to be through an agreement that goes to City Council.
Which is open to the public?
Yes.
City agreement?
That's
okay,
correct.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we have to be, for projects to be going, we have to be what we call fully funded. So we need to have all the money to go ahead with the project. Yes. Thank you. I got some information item for you. Since we finished the calendar year 2017, we'd like to give you a report and show you some of the photos of the projects that we had completed last calendar year. In the last calendar year, we finished 59 projects, and they were finally accepted. Basically, they go to the City Council, and the final acceptance is in a council memo with all the documents. The final construction cost for all these projects was $68.2 million, and the projects included 23 streets, 9 bridges, 3 building projects or facilities, 7 parks improvements, and 17 drainage projects. Most of the drainage projects are basically smaller ones that are done through unit price contract. We have a lot of areas that need fixing or repairing, so we use the unit price contract in order to repair those areas. The first ones we'd like to show you is we have unit price for bridges that we will do repairs to the bridges. Couple of examples here that we finished last year. One is on eastbound Northwest 10th over Grand Avenue. This is in Ward number 6. And basically the deck had to be repaired and fixed. It was $99,560, and that was completed through a work order that was issued. The next one is East Reno over North Canadian River. This bridge, again, it was hit on the basically Jersey barrier wall, so it had to be fixed. One section of that barrier had to be fixed, so it was like $7,256 for that repair. We also have a drainage unit price contract that we take care of the drainage issues citywide. I'd like to show you a couple of them that we finished last year. One is at 1028 South Portland Avenue. Again, this is a concrete channel liner that had a lot of broken panels and had to be repaired. So you see some before and after picture of what was done. And another one is Black Mesa Drive at Fairgrounds. As you see, this whole thing was collapsed, so we replaced it with a drainage culvert, we call it, or bridge. So this cost was $167,632. So we could, do a few thousand to, less than 200,000 on this unit price contract. And that would save time because going through, bidding every one of these, takes time. But doing it through unit price, that's faster. One of the facility building projects we completed last year was Capitol Hill Library. And we finally accepted it in November of last year. And the contract amount for bond was $4.4 million. And there are some photos before and after it was expanded and renovated, and parking lot was added, parking spaces were added to the facility. But this is part of the Metropolitan Library System that we basically work. Yes. Is that?
It's Oklahoma County is the metropolitan area, and that's who's over that. We typically build the buildings for them, and then they maintain them or they run them. So that's the agreement with them.
Right. With the Metropolitan Library System, our agreement is that we'll build the libraries, they maintain them. We have separate agreement with Cleveland County and the Pioneer Library System. In that county, we build the libraries and we help maintain them. And so it varies depending on the library system, what kind of agreement we have with them. And I guess that's, I think that's set up by state law, that the cities own the facilities, but the library owns or maintains them. They have separate taxing jurisdiction, and I believe on many of these projects they do contribute as well as well as our bond funds. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. That was a GeoBond project as well. Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we also had at Will Rogers Park, we had the exhibition center improvements, and as you see, it was renovated to have, be modernized. So it turned out very, very nicely. We finally accepted it in June of 2017, and the cost to the bond was $682,000. And next, we have street projects. One of the street projects is street widening, basically changing it from an existing 2-lane to 4-lane. And this project on South Anderson Road had a traffic signal installed and intersection improved at Southeast 59th Street. We finally accepted it in March of 2017, and the price was $3.8 million. Next, we have basically arterial streets that we resurface, and also in the 2007 bond, we built sidewalk on one side of the street. The two that we finished, one was North Harrison Avenue from Northeast 4th to I-235, and North Martin Luther King Avenue from Northeast 4th to Northeast 10th. And this project was finally accepted in May of 2017, and the cost was $1.2 million. And again, that's another arterial street resurfacing, which we combined with some part of a residential resurfacing. This was on Lodi Street from Northeast 4th to Northeast 8. And basically, we had repair to the street, resurfacing, and also sidewalks that was constructed. The price was $2.4 million. And also another residential resurfacing, which was surrounded by Pennsylvania Avenue, Western Avenue, Southwest 89th, and Southwest 104th. And this was finally accepted last August 2017 at a construction cost of $2.2 million. On the right, right. Some of the older neighborhoods, they don't have it, but again, before we build sidewalks, we ask the neighborhood, the homeowner association, and the property owners whether they would like to have sidewalks. Some opt out of the sidewalks because, they may have larger lots and they don't want sidewalks, so we respect that and we don't build sidewalks. But for majority of them that they like, we put it on one side of the street. Majority do, yes. Okay, next is just basically the calendar year 17. It shows you by month how much we have awarded either toward construction contracts or issuing work orders, or, we do some agreements with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation and others. So this is basically what we put out. So they are either in construction or close to finish, probably some of these. Number of projects, work orders, total is about 88 that we did last year. And again, it's a combination of streets, bridges, drainage, parks, traffic signals, facilities, etc. Now for this calendar year, we have a goal that we have put together the projects that we are expecting to either award or issue work orders or, do agreements with the outside agencies. We are looking at $94.3 million. Of course, this is just an estimate. Our goal is, or target is, to meet $85 million. So, we started out a little bit more, but we are wanting to make sure that we meet the $85 million goal. Again, the number of projects that I'm estimating is about 57. The reason for it is there's some larger facility projects in this calendar year that, previous calendar year had a lot smaller projects, but this one has like one $20 million facility project. So that's why it's, and it's in June, $21.2 million. So we are working toward that. This is our second month, so we are monitoring this every month and making sure that projects happen the way we are looking at them and plan. Yes, this will be awarded as a contract, but it may take 2 years to build. You mean the amount or what projects we're doing? Last month we did issue some work order projects for streets, and we had some park projects. So we have a list of them that if you like to have them, we can furnish that. The $2.3 million is the combination of all activities, it'd be, contract awards. We have engineering contracts that we also pay the bond money on. We do change orders, amendments to the contract. So it's a combination of all of that into that amount. But majority of it will be the contract awards that we plan ahead. Any more questions? Thank you.
I just want to go over real quick the bond executive summary. What we're looking at here is actual expenditures, not awards of contracts, but funding that has been expended. For the month of December, we spent $5.4 million. That's on invoices and different work orders that came in and were paid on. On an average for 12 months, we typically see about $6.4 million in expenditures. And, that's a rolling average, so that was for the past 12 months, previous 12 months. Year to date, we have spent $62 million. It is the IRS requirement that we reach 85% expenditures, not awards, so money out the door, within the first 3 years of the bond sale. So we track the most recent 3 years, and that's what the graph in 2 and 3 in the information in the third box is telling you, that where we are, and we are on track at 74% for the 2015 bonds that have to be spent down by May 11th of this year. So we're on track to reach that 85% IRS requirement. And the graph is just a visual example of how that we are achieving that goal and moving upward each month. And that is the executive summary. If there's any questions.
Last official item before we get into new business is acknowledgement of condolence for the family of Gary Rader, who was the Ward 3 representative. There is a copy of it on your last page. If I may, I will read this. Acknowledgement of condolence, City of Oklahoma City. Whereas Gary D. Rader passed away on December 21st, 2017, and whereas Gary D. Rader served as Ward 3 representative of the City of Oklahoma City's Bond Advisory Committee, and whereas Gary D. Rader served as the mayor of Weatherford for 12 years, and whereas Gary D. Rader, as mayor of Weatherford, oversaw the creation of the Weatherford Pioneer Center, a 500-acre expansion of Dean Rader Park, enhancements of the 911 system, upgrades for the fire department, advancements of the water treatment facilities, and Red River Transportation Taxi Bus. And whereas Gary D. Rader was awarded the Oklahoma Mayor of the Year Award, and whereas Gary D. Rader served as both board member and president of both the Oklahoma Municipal League and Southern Municipal Conference, and whereas Gary D. Rader was named by Governor Mary Fallin to the Oklahoma Community Service Commission, and whereas Gary D. Rader's commitment to youth baseball and basketball as a referee, coach, and announcer led to his induction into the Oklahoma Sport Official Hall of Fame, and whereas Gary D. Rader was president of the National Coaches and Officials Association, and whereas Gary D. Rader served as a U.S. Army specialist during the Vietnam War, And whereas Gary D. Rader was an active member of Westside Christian Church who relished singing in the choir. And whereas Gary D. Rader worked for more than 30 years with his father at the Rader Insurance Agency. And whereas Gary D. Rader spent his life dedicated to the public service and civil engagement. And whereas Gary D. Rader is survived by his wife, Barbara Rader, his son, Dean Rader, and wife, Jill Ramsey, and their sons, Gavin and Henry Rader, and his daughter, Amy Rader Keiss, her husband, Adam Keiss, and their sons, Ella Rader and Simone Keiss. And now, therefore, the chairman and members of the Bond Advisory Committee extend deepest sympathies to the family and friends of Gary D. Rader. Signed this 5th day of February 2018. I would like to make a public note of appreciation for is it Justin? For Justin and Erica preparing this for the city for our approval.
You need a motion?
Well, I'll take one, but I don't know that we have to have one. Thank you. Now we need to move on to our new business. We found out that we are supposed to be doing this every year, and I think it's missed a few years, several times. A nomination and election of a chair and vice chair. Would entertain motions or volunteers or...
Just begin by asking you, it's such a high-paying job that you go on as chair here. Last year, it severely impacted your income. I would simply ask the others, unless someone else is interested, if you're not uninterested, you'd accept a nomination. I won't make one yet, but accept a nomination to serve for 4 years as chair of the Bond Advisory Committee.
One more. That is apparently acceptable to, we don't need to pass it around, or we can. I'll take it either way. I would be happy to have someone else be chairman and another vice chair, but I would be glad to be chairman. Yeah.
The recommendation was to keep the consensus with the committee.
Okay. Okay.
Chairman makes
Well, that is a question. There is a term that we're appointed for, but we all sit at the pleasure of our councilman. And we've seen some various sudden changes from that aspect. So that's an unknown at this moment. But that's also why we need a vice chair, as well as whether there is something where I'm not going to be here. Yes, yes.
Nomination, we need a second, and then we
Yes.
can vote.
Well, I hadn't made a motion until
Okay.
the current chair thought that I'm willing to make a motion for chair and vice chair at the same time, or else for the group. Why? So that's common. I'll second your motion. Can we do both in one nomination? But let me ask Linda if she considers vice chair.
I think since Bill does such a good job of showing up, then but I would do it in his absence.
I will be on vacation next month. Okay.
I'll second the motion. Nominate Bill Cunningham as Curtis chair. Service or vice chair.
Thank you. Second to that, I think we had, okay. All those in favor? Those of us opposed? Thank you. Are there any new items from committee members? No. Are there any citizens to be heard? I would like to receive a motion for adjournment. Second? Okay. Those in favor, aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.